Hey chillers, welcome back to my channel. So it's Tuesday, which means it is another spooky, scary story reading thing, or whatever I call this. I'm going to be continuing reading There's Something Wrong with My Fiance. So let's just get started. This is a strange turn of events. I suppose some introductions are in order. My name is Mark. It's taken me a long time to get here, but here we are. I was a little surprised to find my darling fiance's little blog, but dang have I enjoyed browsing through it, as well as your comments. But that being said, I think it's time for you to hear the full story from me. Excuse me, what? Oh, okay. It all started Friday, March 9th, just like Nikki told you all. She came home, and we started looking at the budget for the wedding, and we began arguing about how much we were willing to spend on certain things. I left for work, promising we would talk about it tomorrow. That night at work, we had a lot of new patients admitted to both the ER and the psych ward. Around 3 a.m., this man came strolling in, asking to release a psych patient into his studies. He said the patient's name was Ian Smith. I asked for some identification. He presented me with an ID bearing the name Samael Sulabade, or however you pronounce that. The proper paperwork was completed, and Ian Smith was released into Sam's care. I was not the one to send them on their merry way, so I had not yet met Ian Smith. When I got off of work around 7 a.m., Sam was waiting in the parking lot for me. He was leaning against his Cadillac DeVille coupe, my favorite car. Impressed, I shot the stuff with him for a few minutes about the car before he asked if I wanted to ride. Of course I said yes. While we were driving around, he made polite small talk, and we got on the topic of Nikki and the wedding, money and whatnot. I confessed that we were a little strapped for cash, and that we had both been working nonstop to try and fund the big day. No one really warns you how expensive weddings are, and no one was helping us pay for any of it. Not that we wanted help, we were just not prepared for how pricey things like flowers at a bar actually can be. Regardless, he piped up and told me he could help, if I was interested. He had my attention. He explained to me that he and his associates work in a shadow of secrecy, but that they were there to assist those in need as long as mutually beneficial agreement could be reached. They accepted no monetary payment for the services, but everything has a price. You see, Sam is one of the many forms that the devil himself takes. I myself was not a man who believes in God or the devil, but I gave his proposal a listen. He explained to me that there are ways to increase your luck, wealth, anything really. That sometimes in some cases luck and wealth were shared. And if the second party were to be eliminated, or secondary party, my bad, all the luck and all the wealth would fall to the one remaining. I didn't fully understand, but I must say I was intrigued, not just for the money, but for curiosity's sake as well. I asked him what I had to do. He pulled back into the parking lot right next to my car, gave me an address to meet him at sundown. We shook hands and parted ways. When he pulled away, I realized it was already nearly 4 o'clock. We had been gone the whole day, but it felt like a matter of minutes. At home, I quickly packed an overnight bag, unsure how long I would be gone. I must have accidentally pocket dialed Nikki, but when she tried to call me back, I had no idea what to tell her. So I simply texted her that something had come up, and that I would explain later, assuming that I would have an actual explanation later. Before I left to meet Sam, I saw Nikki's note on the counter and wrote that I loved her too. When I met up with Sam, he ushered me into his car once again and began driving in silence. I can't say that I was scared or concerned, really. Quite frankly, I didn't much care what we were going to do. I was committed now, and if what he said was true, for the first time in my adult, independent life, I wouldn't be scraping by, pinching pennies, worrying about the next paycheck. To be honest, I would have done anything in that moment. He parked the car along the side of the road and told me that we would have to walk the rest of the way. When we arrived at a small clearing in the woods, we were met by 2 other men, one dressed much like Sam in a nice suit with the disconcertingly sly grin. They don't know how to spell on this form. And one unconscious on the ground. There were 5 small fires set up in a circle and one on the ground connecting the circle, and the points was what looked like sand or salt or something. I realized it was a giant pentagram. For the first time, I started to believe that this man may be the actual devil himself. He explained to me that the unconscious man had held half my luck and half my wealth, and that if I wanted it back, he would have to be eliminated. I said I understood, and he handed me an ornate dagger with writing on the blade. Passisor signatus est enum. I don't want to know what that means. As soon as I took the dagger, something washed over me. The incredible feeling of strength and power. I walked to the man on the ground and was taken aback when I realized he looked almost exactly like me. I looked to Sam for an explanation. He smiled and said, "Non potest esse nisi unis." There can only be one. And I knew he was right. I murdered my doppelganger that night. Ian Smith, the twin I never knew I had. I murdered him and stole every last bit of luck and wealth I had been sharing all these years. When the deed was done, Sam handed me a can of gasoline and a box of matches. Told me to erase him. I burned his body. I erased him. We no longer were identical. We no longer had to share. There could only be one. I blacked out. When I woke up the next day, I was in some motel room somewhere. I had a nasty burn on my arm from where the fire snuck up on me the night before. I felt incredible, though. Better than I ever felt. I got up and went for a run, and when I returned, Sam was waiting for me. He explained to me that no one was ever to know what happened in the woods. I was to forget that man ever existed. I didn't even know his name at that point. I got a call shortly thereafter asking if I wanted to pick up a shift at the hospital. Sunday pay, plus they offered to throw in a few extra bucks an hour for asking me so last minute. My luck was turning around already. As my darling fiance has explained to you, kind folks, I returned home every bit the loving and attentive man. Everything was going great. Truth be told, after reading Nikki's little diary here, it all makes sense now. I had no idea that she was getting these phone calls. But that definitely explains why it went all to stuff one day. All the crap. To clarify, that's not a word. To clarify, I truthfully was in Chicago training for work last week. Like I said, my luck has turned around. The pay increase will be incredible. I was adopted out of Chicago as a young child, but I have no memories of my time there. I suppose Ian Smith also would have been adopted out of Chicago, but I don't recall having a twin. My childhood is still a mystery, I suppose, but I've begun to wonder how much of that is repression and how much of that is the new and improved Mark. I should also explain for any of you who out there are wondering, this sounds easy enough. Make a deal with the devil and get my perfect life. Make no mistake, magic, even black magic from the source himself it's quite like physics. It's like physics. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. You can't receive without giving something back. Like Sam said, a mutually beneficial agreement, a deal, a contract. For me, I paid with my soul. I am no longer the same Mark I used to be. I'm much, much better. So I suppose at this point we are all probably wondering where Nikki is. Worry not, she's being taken care of. I returned from Chicago to find her missing, as well as all as her suitcases and a lot of her belongings. It took a few days, but I tracked her down. Bank statements don't lie. It wasn't hard to figure out where she was staying. She was holed up in a motel halfway from here to Indiana. When I arrived at her room, she freaked out, screaming and throwing things at me. Backing herself into a corner, she was like a caged animal. I knew she knew something was going on. Someone in the next room called the police. When they arrived, I talked them into transporting her back to home for mental evaluation. I told them, as the concern has seemed to be, that I thought the stress had just gotten to her and that she had had a mental break. That's where she is now, being mentally evaluated to see if she's a danger to herself or others. No one will believe her story. even if she tells them everything. She's just a hysterical, overworked bride-to-be that needs a break. That's what I'm counting on. Should at least buy me a few days to figure out what to do about her. Maybe I should call off the wedding, pick up, and start over. Maybe I should run with this con. Convince her she really did just have a mental breakdown. Or maybe she needs to be eliminated. Maybe she's already caused enough troubles. Decisions. And then there's an edit. To clarify, I didn't hack into her account. When she was taken for her psych evaluation, I brought her electronics and things home. I know my fiance's laptop password. The account was already logged in, with Reddit bookmarked. As far as Jones, he came by the house. Whoops, I just hit my tripod. I told him I had been working all weekend when Smith disappeared, that I had avoided Nikki because we'd been fighting. He can't prove I was anywhere else, and until he does, I don't anticipate seeing him again. If he wants to search anything, he's gonna need a warrant, and he doesn't have enough reason for a judge to approve one. Also, the story is most certainly not over. I'll let you all know what I decide to do with Nikki. Worry not. Okay. So, Mark made a deal with the devil? I got chills. Well, there you guys go. That was part 7 of There's Something Wrong with My Fiance. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up so I know. And please follow all my social media down below in the description. And follow along with the story or read the next part if you want to. I don't care. I'll link that down below as well. And please hit my bubble to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys on Thursday. Alright. Peace out, chillers.